Well, if you've been thinking about getting a battery electric vehicle, I'm sure the Tesla Model Y has crossed your path. If it hasn't, maybe you've been living under a rock, because the Model Y, as of 2023, 2024, and possibly 2025, it was the best-selling vehicle out of any type in the whole entire world. Not best-selling EV, best-selling vehicle. So it's even beating out gas cars. So EVs have truly gone mainstream, especially with the Model Y. Its little brother, the Model 3, kind of paved the way for mainstream EVs. But you know what? When the Model Y first came out, they were pretty expensive on the secondhand market. They were going for $10,000, $20,000 over what original MSRP was, because there was such demand and Tesla could only make so many. I know, because I was in the business. I've bought and sold hundreds of Teslas over the years. I'm a big fan of EVs. I drive a EV myself. There are all sorts of great EVs. Even if you don't want a Tesla, there are all sorts of fantastic EVs out there now on the new and pre-owned market. Even with Ford, we have the fantastic Mach-E, which has a lot of great aspects of it. I think the Mach-E might be even a little bit better looking than the Tesla. But obviously the Tesla product line has a lot of advantages. That's why so many people are considering it. This is a 2023 model. Nice color combination, white on white. It has a PPF, which is a paint protection film, all over the whole vehicle. So it's like a cell phone protector for your car. Sometimes they put PPFs that are different colors, so you can also call them as a wrap, but this one is like a slightly different shade of white. It actually changes color and has a really glossy effect. Obviously you can take it off, but why would you take it off if it's protecting your paint? And these PPF systems, they can be expensive, a couple $1,000s at the minimum, and they go up from there. Nice color combination on white. The white interior is actually surprisingly durable. Some people cringe at the fact of getting white interiors just because they think it's going to get stained and distorted, but I've bought a lot of white Teslas and I've had them come in from the auction where I'm seeing them for the first time, not in the pictures, and it looked like they had a dog or something like that, and I'm cringing. I'm like, oh man, I don't know if those seats are going to clean up good. This might be a problem. But lo and behold, it comes out on detail and the seats are looking great. So Tesla has a proprietary material that they use on their synthetic leather. They don't use any real leather anymore. It's all vegan leather. And I don't know exactly what it is. I've had an interior guy trying to do repairs on a damaged Tesla seat, and he couldn't even source his own material. So Tesla, is holding their cards tight in the aspect of where they're sourcing this material. Tesla's a vertically integrated company, so they manufacture as much as they can in-house. In fact, they're one of the only auto manufacturers that actually produce their own seats. A lot of auto manufacturers, they rely on third-party part distributors to make their parts for their vehicles. The backup cameras, infotainment systems, a lot of these things are not even made by the manufacturer. They're made by other companies that are contracted by the auto manufacturers, and then they send them to the factory where they assemble the vehicle. Tesla's a little bit different. Obviously they do have to source some of their parts from from outside of Tesla, but everything they can, they do it themselves just to streamline things, to not have vehicle shortages because of parts delays, things like that, and it drives the cost down. Going to the service aspect, servicing Teslas seems to be fairly inexpensive. In my experience, they seem to be cheaper and less expensive to service and repair versus comparable gas vehicles. Going back to the Tesla's vertical integration, they don't have a dealer network, they don't have part distributors, there's not different levels of markup. When you're dealing with Tesla, you're dealing factory direct, you're dealing it directly with Tesla. Like when you go to a Honda dealership, you're not dealing directly with Honda. That is a Honda franchise that a local person has bought and is operated by. In fact, Honda sells new cars to the Honda franchise, so there's a level of markup there. Going back to Tesla, Tesla's vertically integrated, so when you're dealing with service, parts, anything related to Tesla, it's all directly from the factory. For instance, I had to have my low voltage battery replaced in my Tesla recently. It was about 6 years old. That's around a time where low voltage or 12 volt batteries go bad. Yes, surprise, surprise, Teslas and EVs, they do have a low voltage 12 volt battery that powers like the electrical system, HVAC system, many other systems inside the vehicle. Then you have, of course, the high voltage battery underneath that powers the drive units and electric motors, makes the vehicle go. But the 12-volt electrical system relies on having a 12-volt battery, and they do go bad, and sometimes the vehicle won't start. Sometimes you actually have to jump an EV if the 12-volt battery is dead to get the systems to fire up. But going back to my story, yeah, I had to get it replaced. Normally at a dealership, probably at the minimum, you're at $300 or $400 on up. You know, a BMW or Mercedes, it could be $700, $800 for a 12-volt battery at a dealership. Tesla charged me like $128. And on top of that, they rotated my tires for $65. They sent someone to my work, where I work. I didn't have to bring it to Tesla to do all this stuff cheaper. So, you know, the thing with Teslas and the thing with EVs is that they have dozens of moving parts. They have dozens of moving parts, not thousands. So, you know, there's far less complexity, far less things to service, no oil changes, no timing belts, timing chains, no exhaust systems, no catalytic converters to go bad or for someone to steal, no fuel induction services. I can go on and on. It's almost like owning an appliance. You know, basically it's changing, you know, filters, rotating tires, and most importantly, plugging it in so you have a charge. This one actually needs to get plugged in pretty soon. So this is a fully charged range of about 300 miles. Charging can be kind of deceptive because this is what we call lithium-ion batteries. Some Teslas that are some cheaper, less expensive Teslas were equipped with what we call LFP batteries, lithium iron, not ion, iron like I'm pumping iron. LFP batteries to simplify things. Those actually like to be charged to 100%, but generally they don't have the same range, energy density, and performance as lithium-ion batteries. So generally, premium Teslas, premium EVs will use lithium-ion battery technology, but lithium-ion batteries, they don't like to be charged to 100%. They like to be charged to 80% for daily use. See, if I try doing that, it's gonna warn me, hey, don't do that, it could damage your battery. It's perfectly fine to charge to 100% every once in a while for like a road trip, but for daily use, Tesla recommends you charge it to 80%. So yes, the fully charged range is about 300 miles, but charging to 80%, realistically, it's kind of probably be more like 250, 260 miles, charging to 80%, which is still plenty for most people. Most people don't drive more than 50, 100 miles a day, but then you have the amazing supercharging network. So you can get charging pretty much almost anywhere. Within like 10 miles of us, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 superchargers. And then they have trip planners too. So if you need to travel somewhere and you're not sure if you have enough range to make it there, you know that you're not going to make it and you need to find charging, the Tesla Trip Planner, it's got your back. You just put in where you want to go. The Tesla Trip Planner will figure out where you need to charge for, how long to charge for. It's not going to steer you in the wrong direction. It's not going to send you somewhere and not be able to get a charge. So you can see we can drive in Spokane. Short charging sessions, we charge for 17 minutes and 12 minutes. And then we're going to arrive at Spokane with 10% battery range. So the Tesla Trip Planner uses a lot of advanced thinking. It takes into consideration outside ambient temperature, tire pressure, wind speed, elevation, all things that can factor make differences in the range of your vehicle. It can also figure out if you have enough range to make it there and back. And it will also not have you charge the full time, because the way batteries work is that the fuller batteries get, the slower the charge rate is. So Tesla might just have you charge for 17 minutes versus 20, 25 minutes and put more energy in the battery, because at that point, it's taking longer for the battery to fill up with charge. So it's sometimes more efficient just to charge for 17 minutes and then hit the next supercharger and charge for 12 minutes. So the Trip Planner really makes the most efficient use of your time when road tripping with an EV. For many reasons, as you can see, telling you how long you need to charge for. You don't need to charge for an hour. You only need to charge for 12 or 17 minutes. And it tells you where to charge for. So there's Tesla Trip Planner. There are Tesla superchargers all over the United States. There's thousands and thousands of them. You can pretty much drive almost anywhere in the United States and you'll have Tesla charging. We have these amazing Google Maps. This has cameras all the way around it, so it's like a rolling dash cam on wheels. So I've known people who've gotten car accidents, they got rear-ended, it's all on camera, no fighting with insurance companies, no questions asked by anyone or the police. I've seen cars get damaged, like this person's car got damaged while it was parked, and he asked me for help. He noticed I had a Tesla, Yeah, my Tesla recorded it, and we got the person's information who hit his new Subaru WRX and took off. Not very nice. And this screen is infinitely reconfigurable. People say, oh, I wish there was more buttons and knobs, hard buttons and knobs. Well, guess what? Those hard buttons and knobs, they're going to be there forever. This screen is infinitely reconfigurable. And there's a depth to this screen that I have not seen in any other vehicle. There's a lot of different functionality in the screen. You can make changes to the vehicle. Obviously charging, autopilot, you can make changes to that. This has autopilot, which is traffic aware cruise control, which allows the vehicle to brake and accelerate and steer in its own lane. It's not full self-driving. Full self-driving is available in this vehicle, but you have to pay $99 a month for it, or you can purchase it for $8,000 one-time fee. It works great. I have full self-driving in my Tesla. I use it every day. I've been using it for 3 years, and if I didn't have it, I'd happily pay the $99 a month for it, because I have a 12-mile commute, and the full self-driving is so good. I have my hands on my lap. The car is doing the whole commute. It's changing lanes, merging on the highway, doing everything, and I'm just sitting here. 3 years ago when I first started using it, when the system was a lot younger and had a lot more learning to do, I was constantly intervening. It was sometimes stressful, but Tesla's improved and kept on updating, improving the full self-driving. It's now to the point where it's getting pretty darn close to be really truly full self-driving. Tesla is actually rolling out its robo-taxis, where they have a safety driver sitting in the passenger seat, and they're taking people for rides around a select area of Austin, Texas, but there's no one in the driver's seat. So they're getting very close. And in fact, for the first time, a Tesla Model Y, the brand new Tesla Model Y, it's got a little bit newer technology than this one, but this brand new Tesla Model Y drove off the factory in Texas and delivered itself to its owner. I mean, that's pretty amazing. So nobody was in the car. The car drove out of the factory and delivered itself to its owner. Pretty amazing stuff. And this is why my Tesla videos can go on 20 minutes, just because there's so much stuff to talk about. Even this thing wasn't an EV. If this had a gas engine, aside from the gas engine, all this amazing technology, it was still an amazing car. Fantastic backup cameras for situational awareness. If you do opt for the full self-driving software, if you do get that, the vehicle has a self-park feature, which works awesome. The autopilot works really good too. It's just not going to change lanes, but if you're going and stopping to traffic on the highway, you can get a lot of mileage out of the autopilot. I almost call it like full self-driving light. I love the minimalist kind of wedge-shaped appearance of the Model Y. Some kind of say it's too plain Jane. I like it, but you know, I have love for all cars. So we have our frunk here. Since there's no engine, we have all this extra space to store stuff. It's also a safety feature because you have all this, space up. You have all that space there to absorb crash energy in a frontal collision. Can you see? I don't know if you can see in camera. We can kind of see how the wrap has a sparklet. The paint protection system has a sparkle. The film, really nice. Changes colors depending on which way you're looking at. And they also added these carbon fiber, stickers for the doorknobs for a little bit of a nicer look. Model Y has a lot of interior space. I'm not gonna show myself too much. It's probably like 90 degrees on the lot. I'm all sweaty and gross, so I'll spare you my beautiful sweaty face. But I'm 6'2", I got plenty of space. It's actually really remarkable. The Model Y is considered a compact, but it has a lot more space than a comparable compact gas-powered vehicle, since we don't have drive shafts and gas tanks and exhaust systems going through the floor. It's completely flat, along for a clean sheet design. So this has an amazing amount of space for its size. It has some nice features: a cargo area cover, cargo area protector. We have the nice additional storage under there with another cargo area protector. You have storage pockets on that side and on that side. This thing just has such a ton of space for a vehicle this size. So you can get the Model Y available in rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. This has all-wheel drive, so it has dual electric motors. It's like having two engines, making it really fast. But this one also has another little surprise up its sleeve. If we go over here, this has the acceleration boost upgrade. So the previous owner paid $2,000 to get this feature added, and it will transfer to its next owner. So the acceleration boost upgrade is a $2,000 in-app purchase. You get a software update, and basically it unlocks like an additional 100 horsepower. So now you're going to 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds. So the Model Y was already pretty quick, Going 0 to 60 around 5 seconds, but 4.2 seconds, that's performance car territory. You're gonna put a lot of performance cars to shame. All right, there we go, 93 degrees. Usually I show my face in these videos, but I'm just a sweaty mess, so thanks so much for doing this. Thanks so much for joining me on this little walk around video, whether you're interested in this specific Model Y or looking for information in general. Fantastic vehicles. EVs are fantastic. Tesla EVs, other brands of EVs, Polestar, Mach-E's. We sell all these pre-owned ones, and obviously new Mach-E's here at Scarff Ford. We sell new Isuzus and obviously a wide variety of pre-owned vehicles. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content and if you're watching on YouTube. We hope to see you soon.